Hello, I'm Cristiano Perfect Mondays, and if you're struggling having difficult conversations, if you have either partners, clients, or someone in your life that you need to have a difficult conversation with, today I'm going to be sharing you a powerful way that you can just start mastering the art of having difficult conversations. So stick with me. Hi, welcome to Perfect Mondays, the place for women entrepreneurs who want to scale their business without drama and without overwhelm. So if you're a conscious woman and if you want to grow your business and you want to have a lot more balance, if you want to feel more purposeful, if you don't want to sacrifice, which is a word that I don't like, if you don't want to sacrifice important things in your life for your business, this is a place for you. And today we're talking about a very important topic, which is mastering the art of having difficult conversations. Now, why is this important? The more that you grow your business, the more you're gonna have to become effective at having difficult conversations. Difficult conversations is what will allow your business to grow because you get to share your vision with your employees, with your clients, and with people around you, even with your business partners if you have them. And I have many clients, some of them have hundreds of employees, and the more that your business grows, the more that you need to be effective at saying what you need to say in a compassionate yet assertive way. So what are some of the challenges that people have when they want to have a difficult conversation? Well, first of all, it's something that most people find unpleasant, right up there with skydiving or dying, because having a difficult conversation by nature makes you feel vulnerable and makes you feel sometimes like you don't want to hurt people's feelings or you don't want to get your feelings hurt, and sometimes this puts a block in what you need to say. So many of you love personal development. In fact, you wouldn't be watching this unless you love personal development. And if you do, then there's 3 areas that need to change initially before you even go into how to change the way that you approach your conversations, which is you need to change, number 1, you need to change the mindset about what this means. And what having difficult conversations mean and has meant for my life and the life of my clients is an opportunity to grow in 3 different areas. Number 1, an opportunity to become stronger, a stronger communicator, a more assertive woman in your case, who can say things the way that you need to say them in a compassionate way. And secondly, a way for you to grow in terms of the action that needs to change. When you need to have a difficult conversation, oftentimes it means that something needs to change. So there's an opportunity for you to grow into that area and that thing to actually resemble more of what you want to have. And thirdly, the relationship of the person you're talking to can actually improve. It doesn't always have to, but it often can. So if you think about how this is gonna make you a stronger person, then it's gonna be a little easier for you to start diving into the nitty-gritty of how to have a difficult conversation. So number 1, you need to change your mindset, expand the identity of what this means for your life and for your business. Number 2, and I've said this in other videos, you need to have a specific outcome. Why is this important? Because unless you have a very specific outcome, you're not gonna be able to get what you want. And this is something that I often find when I'm talking to women entrepreneurs, that they want something to change and they say, well, this person just needs to be more respectful, or this person needs to be more compassionate, or they need to just be more proactive, and things that really make sense to you but doesn't really tell the other person what needs to happen. Maybe you've had a conversation like that in the past, but I feel that for purposes of exercising your muscle of assertiveness, you need to say, if what I want for the other person is to be more loving or more respectful or more proactive, whatever that means, right? What are the specific actions that will make me believe that this person has actually stepped up to that place? Sometimes there are very specific things. And I have conversations with people where they tell me they need an employee to be more respectful or more generous with their time for employees, or having a better connection with clients. And when I ask them what that means, they can tell me precise things that someone else who tells me that they want the exact same thing, they want their employees to be more proactive, doesn't really match with that, because people have unique ways of meeting whatever that outcome is for them. So you need to understand what those outcomes are for you, because you're gonna be able to explain them a lot easier to the people that need to make the change. So once you understand what your precise outcome is, I want you to also go into what is the best case scenario for, if you actually have this conversation, and what is the worst case scenario. Why is this? Because oftentimes people think that the worst case scenario is terrible, and when they really think about it, it's not that bad. I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes the worst case scenario is like, this relationship is ending, whether it's a client who can no longer work with you, whether it's a friend that you really care about, whether it is something that needs to change with an employee. Sometimes that's the case, but it's not always the case. However, many people approach the conversation as if that's always the case. And then when it comes to thinking about what is the best case scenario, it's also important for you because that also gives you motivation. If this thing is able to change in the way that I want it to, what is the amazing thing that could happen if things go my way? And that's also a powerful way for you to step up and say, this is actually worth it. So one more time, the first one is that you are changing your mindset and you're seeing this as an opportunity to grow. Number two is you know what's your precise outcome. What are the specific actions that the person needs to take in regards to this conversation? And what is the best case scenario and the worst case scenario? Number three doesn't always apply. However, if your feelings are hurt, I want to ask the question, what if? Okay? What if this person's actions were not intended towards me? What if this is not personal? What if this person is really doing their best? What if this person doesn't just get it? What if I haven't been able to communicate effectively the change that I need to happen? Again, this is not always the case because maybe you're talking about an employee who's stealing money from you and the person, that's not an action that you're going to be able to forgive in terms of the business relationship. However, you don't always assume that you know why people are doing things. If you suspend that disbelief and if you stop the judgment for that conversation, even though you may have a lot of ideas as to why this is happening, if you suspend it for a little bit, the conversation is going to flow better and you might actually learn something. So once more, step number three, which is suspend your disbelief, ask what if this person was not trying to F me over? Doesn't always apply, but if it does apply, if your feelings are hurt, please use that. Number four is the method in which you're going to communicate. Many times, having a conversation with someone that's difficult face to face is the best way to handle things. And I prefer this over phone because when you're on the phone, there's so many nonverbal cues that you don't get to see. And when you are having this conversation face to face, whether it's Skype or whether it's FaceTime, or if you can actually have the face to face conversation, this person lives in the city that you live in, then it's going to be a lot more effective because you can see the nonverbal cues. You can see how the other person's taking it, and you can't often see that when you're talking on the phone. Now, if you do live in the same city, something that's really helpful is to actually have a conversation when you go for a walk. Now, this may sound a little weird, but if you think about it, when you are, for example, in someone's office, there's anchors around the room. If someone always makes decisions in their office and you go into their office, and you're having this difficult conversation, then this person, psychologically owns that space. They make decisions, what they say goes. Or vice versa, they come to your office and you feel that way. Sometimes you might be less inclined to listen to them. So meeting either in a neutral place or going for a walk is going to be really helpful. When you go for a walk, you're not face to face with the other person. It means that you're sideways. So having a conversation with someone that's next to you, it's a lot less confronting than having someone look at you directly in the eyes all the time. And secondly, when you're walking with someone, there's movement. So your brain is going to be operating at a different frequency. It means that you can access different resources that you can't access when you're just sitting down. And that's also going to be helpful. Now, for the last part, the actual conversation. What does the actual conversation need to be about? This doesn't always work in every scenario, but it's a helpful framework. So just take it for what it's worth. If it's helpful, please use it. Number one is understand what are the facts. What are the facts of the situation? And the more specific you can be, the better. So on September 1st, you told me X, Y, and Z. On January 2nd, you said this and you did this. So just be specific as to the things that were said in precise terms. Why is this? Because when you can agree on the facts, right, it's a lot easier to move forward. The second part is addressing the feelings. This is where you can actually allow yourself to be vulnerable. And this doesn't mean you have to cry in front of them, doesn't mean you have to be a doormat or anything like that. It just means that you have to express how those actions made you feel. And this is going to vary in the degree that the person. Sometimes it's inappropriate to just, like I said, cry a river in front of someone because it's not someone that either cares about your feelings that way or is going to be very productive. However, saying when you do X, Y, and Z, when you did this, it made me feel like I'm not in control of my team. This made me feel disrespected. This made me feel X, Y, in any way that made you feel. If it's someone that you care about, you can be a little more heartfelt in the way that you communicate those things. And the thing with the first part, which is communicating the facts, and the facts are not refutable. Your feelings are not refutable. You can feel however the hell you want to feel. No one's going to say that's the wrong way to feel. You can feel however you want. right? So you've addressed what are the facts, how they made you feel. And the third part, which is really important, is we're going to go back to the outcome, which was step number 2. And number 3 is what do you want to happen? Once you've addressed what the facts were, how that made you feel, what do you want to happen as a result of it, and what you go really specific and you make an agreement. Now, sometimes it's really helpful to do this process by writing down what you would say and by saying it out loud. Why? Because sometimes when you say it out loud, you can hear if it's aggressive, oh shit, that sounds horrible. Or if it's a little too soft, not the way that you meant it, but it gives you a little more clarity. It doesn't mean you have to memorize that script. It just means that it allows you to express it in a different way, allows you to say it one time. So when you're talking to someone, it's not the first time you say those words. Part of the challenge with having difficult conversations is that you're saying things that you normally wouldn't say. And when you haven't said those things, sometimes it's even shocking for your own self. You're like, oh my God, did I just say that? Yes. And then you get in your head instead of your heart. So doing that is going to be really helpful. So let's review real quickly what are the steps. Number 1, understanding that when you have a difficult conversation, it's an opportunity for you to grow. Number 2, you need to know what's your precise outcome. You need to know what are the specific actions that people need to do as a result of your conversation. Number 3, if it's appropriate and you have a challenge with someone, this is where you think, what if? What if this person didn't try to do this to F with me? What if this person is doing their best? What if you at least give them that little grace for you not to judge them so you can be fully present when you're thinking about how to solve this problem? Number 4, to the extent that it's possible, see this person face to face. And if it's at all possible, have a walk with them. If it's a difficult conversation, have a walk with them because it's gonna be a lot easier for you both to communicate and not to feel like you're stuck in one little room where there's anchors and people have emotions already attached to that room. And number 5, the process to say this conversation is step number 1, what are the facts? Agree on those. Number 2, how did this make you feel? Again, this is not going into crying or whatever, just saying how those feelings, those challenges, those facts made you feel. And number 3, what do you want the person to do as a result of that, and agree on that. And one more time, if you write this down and you say it out loud and you practice a couple of times, it's gonna be a lot easier when you get to the actual situation to have said it already. So I hope this is helpful. If it's helpful, I want you to do 3 things. Number 1, please like the video, the thumbs up. And if there's someone that you think might benefit from this, please share it with them. And most importantly, if you're a woman entrepreneur and you're struggling and you'd like hands-on approach, if you like someone who has helped hundreds of women entrepreneurs grow their business and expand, if you want someone who can help you address these challenges and so many more that you're gonna be facing as you scale your business, please reach out to me. There's gonna be a link, the first link underneath the description for this video is a link that when you click, it's gonna ask you a few questions, and then we might be able to connect to explore if we're a good fit to work together. If you also want to check out some of the amazing case studies of women that I've been able to help, underneath the first link, on the second link, there's also a link where you can explore the women that I've been able to help, some of them, and what they have to say about our work together. So until we meet, I hope that you practice these steps, and I send you all my love from Austin.